got a sweet Asian chick, she go long man. You know man, you know man.
What is the deal, beautiful people?
Hello, guys and gals out there.
My name is Ramon.
I am Tawan, aka the Kicks God. If you follow me on LD Kicks,
You should follow my LD Kicks. You in the sneakers?
You should. I agree.
We should probably get you to review some church shoes and such too.
Nay, sir. Hey, listen, why not? I feel like if it's footwear, I can review.
You got an opinion on it?
Yeah. I think roach stompers versus the square toe.
The square toe joint. Oh my god.
However we do.
So, welcome back to another episode of AMA. If you're new here, you're not sure how this works, you ask your question in the comment section down below.
Yep.
And we answer the upcoming videos.
Now, is this tech AMA or
this is photography.
AMA? Okay. We're photography.
There's also the tech channel. You guys check the links in the description below.
We are working for you.
Indeed. So this comment comes from likliklik, one of the homies on the channel.
Like.
And I will.
Okay.
I will read it. He goes, agree, 100%. The passion and intelligence in this video is entertaining. I'll explain the video later.
Okay.
You clearly enjoyed taking him down a peg. Good job. Do you think there will eventually be a sweet spot where phone cameras get good enough, and when augmented with the phone processor, the images taken be good enough for most people? Is computational photography the future? We could actually also put this on the tech channel.
No, yeah, definitely.
So the question he's asking is on a video where he spoke about the Android engineer who left Android, left Google, went and bought an iPhone, and then started ranting and raving on Facebook as to how much better the iPhone was than Android in computational photography. So I did a video pretty much, going through the paces like, okay, I see where it's coming from, but no, not really. Stop it.
Right.
So I'll post the link to that video down below. If you want to go watch it, you get some context, then you come back here, finish this up. It's up to you.
Okay.
So to his question, do I think eventually there'll be a sweet spot where phone cameras can get good enough with augmented reality, with the phone processors to be good enough for most people? I mean, I think that's here. That's happened already.
It's happening now.
It's happening now. I mean, it's been happening for a while. We were just in a knee-deep conversation about looking back at old Nokia 920, 1520, 1020 images, and I mean,
before and when the conversation, if I needed to, and mind you, there was no post-production. There was an image capture. What am I going to do with it? Actually, right now they're uploaded to OneDrive. However, if I decided to pull them down and upload them to my photography Instagram, can they stack to, and this was again the Nokia 920, can they stack to an iPhone 7 Plus? An iPhone 8.
I think absolutely.
And yes, I feel like they can.
Yeah. So we've been there a while, and I mean, a lot of people, computational photography. I think to make a long story short, that is where there's a lot of software tweaks and whatnot applied to an image after the fact.
Right.
And to an extent, I think computational photography we see in a lot of real cameras, not just phones. So think about the HDR mode that you see on your camera. That's computational photography.
Yep.
Right? And there's a lot of other stuff like that. There's on the Olympus, there's something called a live composite mode. So pretty much what it is think of lightning. Okay. You've got to be not skilled, exceptionally lucky to get a crazy dope lightning shot,
or just leave your fucking aperture open.
Well, that's the issue. That's why it's not skill. Because the longer you leave that thing running on bulb mode, the more exposed, the more light comes in.
It oversaturates your
exactly.
your
It'll be
shot.
overexposed. So you will get the light, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, that's dope!" And you won't see anything else.
Right.
So it's this balance of like you get a properly exposed image, and you could watch to see the clouds when the clouds kind of light up and go now, and then you get the fork.
What if? And just a question, just to pause you there for a second. What if you took that type of shooting that you said layered? If you layered your shot, so you got your same.
No, you can do it. You can do it.
You got your exposed lightning, and then you take the exposed of the background, the bracketing.
You can do bracketing, but you still got to get the goddamn shot in there. So,
God damn it.
There's ways to do it, but on the Olympus, the live composite mode, it's just like a running. The shutter's wide open. Right. The sensor's exposed and it's recording. However, the processor only records new light. So you can never overexpose the light, because how photography works is if you open the shutter and you leave it just open, and you put a light here. At first, it's going to be the light source, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's bright." Right. But as it keeps recording the same light source, it dims it. No, it gets more intensive. Okay. So overall, you hold that flashlight there. After about 45 seconds, the entire shot's going to be white. Okay. Now with live composite mode, only that first exposure is there. Right. So then if you come and you add another light, then that also gets added, but you can still see everything else. Right. So that's computational photography. Right. And I think as we go further, like I would argue focus stacking is. So in the Panasonic, the G7, which we're filming with, and Olympus has a variation of this, on my Olympus at least, the EM10 Mark II, macro. The thing about macro photography is when you're so close, the depth of field is razor thin. Yeah. So you may get like this one little piece, when the rest of it's completely out of focus. Right. So what you do is you focus stack. So that you manually move your focus a little at a time, picture, take the shot. Move focus again, picture, and then you compile them in post, and you get this one nicely super detailed long shot of everything in focus. These cameras now, there's a mode. So you press the shutter button once, and the camera goes, okay, I'm gonna start from back to front.
The fucking cheat code.
Yeah, that's computational photography. So I mean, that's just to decouple computational photography from the phone, right? Because it's a buzzword because of the focus, the iPhone portrait mode. That's where you started to see that buzzword come in. Oh, we're using computational photography to take pictures of your ice cream in the parlor, like whatever, you know. And then Samsung's coming with the Note 8, and they're doing the same thing.
But iPhone is just doing a fucking piss poor job.
It's wonky. It's very wonky.
You know, I have to digress just a little. I think I've been maybe giving Apple a little bit of bashing. You know, we bash Apple every now and then, but for their portrait mode, I think because most of my portrait images have been indoor and without adequate lighting. Because it will tell you on screen, okay, you're too far, or you're too close. You need to be 8 feet away from the subject. It's not enough light. So, and I get a lot of that indoors. Yeah. And once you now have the picture, you know, there's a lot of grain in the dark areas. Yeah. Where I'm sure if I was outdoor,
it'd be much better.
It would be much better. So I think I've probably been giving Apple or the iPhone.
Listen, I mean that portrait mode does an okay job, but the fact of where I got into the conversation in the first video is it doesn't replace a DSLR, because that's part of what the guy said. Yep. It doesn't replace your real camera. I mean, you know, it's a software solution for something that can't do what a real camera can do. Right. And as long as you recognize and respect that, then I have no problem. to the question, do I think, like, I think it's already here with computational photography, where it is good enough for most people, even without computational photography. Most people were just happy with an iPhone shot in general. But see, he's been around. He's into photography, so he knows not to ask if, we think cameras can, cell phone cameras can replace real cameras.
Absolutely.
Because we already know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Are they good? Yes. Will they get better? Yes, but so will regular cameras. And I think, it's not about, this is a conversation I have all the time on this channel, is sensor size. And this is real nerd geek shit that I hate having.
Right.
People are telling me, so, I have different cameras. I got my Sony a7 II.
Right.
That's a full frame sensor. I got my NEX. I got my Canon. Those are APS-C sensors, so a little bit smaller.
Right.
Then I got my G7 and I got my Olympus. Those are micro four thirds, even smaller.
Right.
So people always say, don't buy a micro four thirds because the sensor is too small and the image. Like, what are you talking? Meanwhile, Apple is running ads on Times Square shot on an iPhone. Have you seen the size of a sensor on an iPhone?
Yeah.
What are you saying to me? So the issue is not the sensor size. It's by and largely it's the processor behind the sensor that can reverse the negatives of said sensor. Okay, if you got a sensor that's got a lot of noise, you get your ass in that processor and design a way for that processor to counteract that noise. And then it's the lenses. Right. That's why cell phone cameras will never be better than real cameras.
Because you have your lens options are limited to that cell phone.
And that's it.
Oh, God.
Some of your eye?
A little bit.
So
burning.
That's where that conversation goes. But I do think computational photography is the future.
Right.
Because if you take what Apple is doing, theoretically, let's say, and Canon won't do this, Nikon won't do this, Sony maybe, but I expect somebody like Panasonic to do this,
right?
Or Olympus, or like Fuji, where they take that same portrait idea, that whole portrait mode, do exactly what Apple's doing, but you're doing it on a bigger sensor and better glass. Holy shit! We might be able to see pictures in a portrait mode where you can turn the entire background just like white or black or whatever color you want.
I did that with my 6000 that I took. I used my my 55-200 and I zoomed in nice and tight, and it totally blurred the background, but everything in it was in focus. And that was probably one of my best shots.
That's depth of field right there. That's what you get. So yes, what we see in computational photography on the phones is a solution to the phone not being able to recreate what a camera does, but there's no reason that you can't put that same method on the camera.
Absolutely.
So computational photography really is the future. We've seen it with how these cameras they implement the HDR, because we know HDR is just bracketing. Right. You take 3 or 5 or 7 shots, however much you want, you put them together, and it evens out the highlights, it evens out the shadows. Fine. And now cameras can do that one press and you're done. You're out of there. All right, cool. You see the time lapse. A lot of cameras got the time lapse mode in them now. I would argue that's computational photography, right? So I think computational photography is the future, and I really would like to see that a lot of the camera companies pay attention to the innovation that's going on in the world, in the mobile, the technology, the mobile world, and put that in the cameras. That would be super dope to see.
Nice. Yep.
So, thank you so much for your question. Hopefully you enjoyed the answer. And hopefully you enjoyed having this man on board.
I have some insight. I'm definitely less than novice photographer. However, I do know the particulars. And I think I do a decent job.
I agree.
Check out NYC Lifestyle Photos, short for photography, and on Instagram. And I have a lot of decent shots there. And check them out.
My name is Ramon.
I am Tawan.
We out of here.
Peace.